Hello everyone, glad to be back after few days off due to New Year celebrations. Today is 3rd of January, now it's 15 to 11 in the morning Moscow time, and as I said, this video is first not just for today but for a year. So therefore, let me first of all wish you a happy and successful new year. Later on today, I will have a second update on both channels, on YouTube and Rumble, and this evening I will upload on Rumble exclusive program, Telegram reports, in attempt to generate additional interest towards my Rumble channel. I come up with this project, this idea, to create exclusive content for Rumble only, and Telegram report is a program for exclusively for Rumble, and hopefully it will help me to further develop channel on Rumble. So if you are watching this video on YouTube, please consider to join our community on Rumble. Also, you can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. And if 2023 I was mainly concentrated on YouTube, 2024 I will pay much more attention to Rumble channel, also to channel on the Telegram, and of course Patreon. I will definitely try to make more and more exclusive content for Patreon, because if Rumble and YouTube it's free subscription, Patreon is a paid subscription, and my Patreon channel is one of the major lifelines for this project. So if you can, and if you want to support this project on regular basis, of course you can subscribe on my Patreon. Also, you can see links on this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. That's been said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports from Russian media, Russian Defense Ministry or military channels, there was no crucial changes on any of the sectors of the front line. It's local scale skirmishes, artillery duels between the sides, drone wars, and reckoning force operations. But mainly operational pause is holding, I will say, and we are not observing any breakthroughs on any of the sectors of the front line. I believe Russian side is in final stage of preparations for upcoming large-scale offensive operations. But yet again, I'm no military expert, and my reading of big picture can be mistaken, but that's how I see situation. Initiative, of course, is in Russian hands all along the front line, and the Ukrainian armed forces have not even a slight chance to achieve any progress anywhere on the front. Last several days, you probably did notice that even though on the front line there are no crucial changes, sides, Russian and Ukrainian forces began exchanging long-range fire, and Russian side conducted quite huge missile and drone strikes on logistical and military infrastructure of Kyiv regime in last several days, and Kyiv regime also did launch missile strikes deep inside Russian territory. But unfortunately, difference is that if Russian forces are targeting military and dual purpose objects, targets in Kyiv controlled territory, like warehouses, systems of air defense, industrial facilities where weapons have been made, Kyiv regime is doing exactly the opposite. They are targeting civilians, and we did see on that Kyiv regime try several times to target Belgorod city, borderline city of Belgorod, and unfortunately, few days ago, they did manage to kill 25 civilians in Belgorod, and more than 100 civilians were wounded. And today Kyiv regime, today and yesterday, Kyiv regime yet again did try to kill Russian civilians in Belgorod again. And according to reports that we are receiving from Russian media, from Russian Defense Ministry, and in this case from Governor of Belgorod region, Vyacheslav Gladkov, today, these early hours of this morning, Kiev regime launched 12 missiles, 12 long-range missiles towards Belgorod city. 6 of them were Olha missiles, which is a MLRS system that was delivered to Kiev regime from Czech Republic. And also 6.U missiles were launched by Kiev regime, and all of them Russian were successfully intercepted by Russian air defense systems. And yesterday, Kiev regime also did try to target Belgorod. They launched 24 Olha long-range missiles and 2.U missiles, and Russian air defense systems did manage to shut down majority of those missiles. But unfortunately, during that strike, 1 civilian were killed and 11 were wounded in Belgorod yesterday. So I'm afraid this is not the first and of course not the last attempt from Kiev regime to kill as many civilians as they can on Russian soil, and therefore, unfortunately, another launches of missiles towards Belgorod and other Russian cities are to be expected. Hopefully, Russian air defense systems will manage to destroy all of them, all aerial targets from Kiev regime, or at least vast majority of them. Also, TASS news agency is reporting that yesterday Kiev regime did launch missiles in direction of Sevastopol also, but all area targets were destroyed over the sea before they managed to reach Crimean Peninsula, and there was no report on any damage or casualties on the ground. Obviously, because missiles were intercepted over the Black Sea. And well, as I mentioned, Russian armed forces did conducted also missile and drone strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Zelensky's regime. And as I said, there is huge difference if Russian side is targeting military facilities or dual-use facilities. Kiev regime is targeting civilians, intentionally targeting civilians and committing war crimes. But Russian strikes on military and logistical infrastructure was huge, maybe biggest one since the beginning of special military operation. And you can see, I did share this morning several videos of aftermath of these strikes that took place yesterday. And if you are interested, you can see these videos on my channel. Russian Defense Ministry is quite conservative, as always, while commenting on these strikes, and they did just say that major targets for Russian armed forces were military-industrial complex, remnants of military-industrial complex of Kiev regime, and warehouses where military equipment were stored by Kiev regime, and also points of concentration of Ukrainian armed forces and also foreign mercenaries. Well, let's continue, and RT is reporting that during the previous strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Kiev regime, one of the Russian drones did targeted the museum of neo-Nazi mass murderer, Ukrainian neo-Nazi mass murderer Roman Shukhevich in Lvov city. And you should see a meltdown in Ukraine now because of this strike. High-ranking officials in Ukraine, one after another, and even former president of Ukraine, Poroshenko, did made statements that they will finance this museum to be rebuilt. And I remind you, dear friends, we are talking about museum for Roman Shukhevich, mass murderer, Nazi mass murderer and collaborant with Nazi Germany during the Second World War. Roman Shukhevich and Bandera and the rest of those criminals were involved in massacre of Poles Polish civilians, Jewish civilians, and many others. They were killing everybody. Even Ukrainians that were trying to save Jews, Poles, Russians, and others. And now, high-ranking Ukrainian officials, MPs, governors, and even former President Poroshenko are not ashamed to make statements openly that they will finance to rebuild this neo-Nazi museum. So when I say modern Ukraine is a neo-Nazi state, Nazi state, and when I say Kyiv regime is a Nazi regime, that's proof for you, additional proof that it is the case. So if anybody will try to argue with you ever that Ukrainian regime, Kyiv regime has nothing to do with Nazis, then you can always share this information, for example. You know, and there is so many other examples, of course, but this is additional argument that they really are not neo-Nazi mass murderers and criminals, and cannot be tolerated. No way. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian armed forces, and this is a report from yesterday, but interesting one, Russian armed forces destroyed the tank platoon of Kyiv regime on Krasny Liman direction, and during this operation, Leopard 2 A6 tanks were destroyed. According to some reports, it was Leopard 2 A6. According to others, it was Leopard 2 A5. They all look almost similar. I did share this video of this operation, destruction of these German-made battle tanks on my Telegram. You can check this video and see yourself. And if you know German-made battle tanks well enough, maybe you can identify it's Leopard 2 A6 or A5. But anyway, Ukraine lost another tanks delivered by NATO member states. Probably all of you did notice that usually it's Leopards from Western-made battle tanks. It's almost exclusively Leopard tanks that are destroyed on the front line. Kyiv regime, since destruction of first Challenger 2, Kyiv regime is not using Challengers on the zero line. And even though there was reports that 31 US M1A1 Abrams tanks have been delivered to Kyiv regime, we did not see those tanks either on the line of contact. Most likely because Washington and London don't want to see exactly this type of videos with when their tanks are burning and are destroyed on the front line. But also those tanks are too heavy. Even Leopard 2 A6 is too heavy, and I did share several times videos when Leopard 2s are struggling with terrain on the front line, and Challenger tanks and Abrams tanks are even heavier than Leopards. So that also can be additional reason, and several Ukrainian channels are quite critical towards Abrams tanks because of their engines and high level of consumption of fuel that is not available inside the Ukraine. Ukraine is not producing that type of fuel. It's kind of mix up of kerosene for fuel for jets and diesel. So this fuel also has to be imported from outside, from NATO member states, and also filters for Abrams tanks are too low, located too low, and when those tanks are moving on the ground and in the mud, these filters are has to be changed almost immediately, and therefore those tanks basically are unusable in Ukraine, in terrain that line of contact is on. But yet again, this is reports that I see on Ukrainian channels. Maybe some other reasons also why Kyiv regime is refusing to send those Abrams tanks towards the zero line. Let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, according to statement of U.S. ambassador in Ukraine, Bridget Brink, Washington is not prohibiting Kyiv to use long-range missiles as Ukrainian militaries wish. So this is, I believe, first or one of the first episodes when high-ranking U.S. officials, and U.S. ambassador is a high-ranking official. So when high-ranking U.S. official is saying that Washington is giving permission to Kyiv to use long-range U.S.-made weapon systems to strike deep inside Russian territory. If you remember, there was times that Washington was denying these claims, and they were saying that weapons that delivered to Kyiv regime from U.S. will not be used on Russian soil. But now things are changing, and they are openly saying that Kyiv regime may use those weapons as they wish. One should always remember that there will be retaliation, and unfortunately, because of the actions of Biden's administration, U.S. military personnel is in danger all around the world. And it may take months, 2 months, 5 months, a year or 5 years, but eventually U.S. militaries will pay heavy price for actions of their government today against Russia. Russia will not forgive, and not forget. It's just simple as that. If U.S. citizens want their military personnel to be safe, at least from possible Russian indirect, I'm not talking about direct retaliation, but indirect retaliation, then they should act, and they should demand from Washington to act adequately and not escalate with Russia, and not make U.S. enemy of the Russia. Otherwise, well, it is what it is, man. And I don't think anybody can blame Russia for it. Isn't it? TASS news agency is reporting, and as an example, by the way, U.S. militaries already are paying price for actions of their government, because U.S. bases in the Middle East constantly are under fire, and dozens and dozens of U.S. servicemen have been killed and wounded as a result of these strikes. You may don't receive information from Western media about it, but that's daily routine in the Middle East. And US servicemen are afraid to come out from their bunkers. That's a reality. They are scared to come out of their bunkers because they are under fire. And why? Because their government is acting against Russia, and Russia has no incentive now to stop any militias in the Middle East to target US bases or inform US militaries about possible strikes. And that's what was happening before US began acting against Russia. In Syria, for example, there was a group, especially created group of Russian and US militaries that were exchanging information between each other to make sure that there are no incidents between the sides, and also to make sure that their operations in a region, policing, let's say, operations, are as safe as possible. But now Russia has no incentive to say anything to US militaries, to warn about any threats, and to stop militias that are operating against US bases. And the results speaking volume. US military are under constant threat. And if anyone to be blamed for this, of course, Biden's administration, obviously. TASS news agency is reporting that, well, according to statements that were made in Germany, Ukraine is using minimal number of Leopard 2A6 German-made battle tanks on the front line. because of issues with maintenance. Ukrainians find it difficult or almost impossible to do proper maintenance of these tanks. This is one of the latest models of Leopard 2s, and well, they did find it difficult to maintain these battle tanks in the conditions that Ukraine in right now, and in the fields, for example, which is well, bad news for Kiev regime, but good news for Russia. I did share video. Probably they did manage somehow to send several Leopard 2 A6 so, towards front line, and they were almost immediately taken out. But, you know, and also from Germany we have a statement, this time from Bundestag, that Berlin should deliver long-range Taurus missiles to Kiev. Well, no surprises here. It's I said, man, once US will deliver ATACMS missiles, long-range missiles to Kiev regime, it will be only a matter of time when Berlin will do the same. The difference is that if, for example, ATACMS or British Storm Shadow or French Scalp missiles have 150 to 300 kilometers range, German Scalp cruise missiles have 500 kilometer range. So they are significantly more dangerous, exactly because of the longer range. But well, Russian side knows how to deal with other Western-made missiles, and Taurus will be no any different. Russian air defense systems will deal with Taurus also, and unfortunately, yet again, because there is no adequate people in German government, no sane people in German leadership, Taurus missiles most likely will be delivered to Kiev regime, or maybe they already are somewhere in Ukraine. TASS news agency is reporting that Turkey denied claims of several media outlets that British demining ships that were gifted to Kiev regime did pass through Turkish straits, to enter Bosphorus and Dardanelles, to enter Black Sea. Ankara is saying that these ships did not enter Black Sea, and since the beginning of special military operation, no military ship was allowed to pass through Turkish straits, Turkish controlled straits. And well, I don't have reason to dismiss these statements from Turkey. Most likely, these British small warships that were gifted to Kiev regime were not allowed to enter Black Sea. But let's see if we will receive some additional information. First, when the information broke out, first that London is planning to give several demining ships to Kiev regime, I was thinking that they will deliver those relatively small ships through the rivers, through the river waterways in Europe, and eventually through Dunai. But looks like they were trying to send these warships through the sea, and they failed. At least that's information that we are receiving. And also, of course, big news that since the 1st of January, BRICS did become significantly bigger and more important than ever in the world scale, because first of all, Russia will be chairman in the BRICS for next year, and BRICS summit will take place in Kazan, capital of Tatarstan Republic, Autonomous Republic of Russian Federation. And also, of course, we all know that number of very important states did join EU, among them Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. So very important states, and well, I can only say sorry for Argentina that their new president refuse to continue political course of previous government, and Argentina will not join BRICS. Therefore, Argentina will lose a unique opportunity to receive help and support from BRICS countries. But that's choice of Argentinian society, I guess. And well, what you gonna do? That's what they choose. So very important states join BRICS, and this year under leadership under leadership, we can say it, isn't it, of Russia. Under leadership of Russia, BRICS may become significantly more chairmanship. Yes, under chairmanship of Russia, BRICS may begin play even more important role on the world stage than ever before. Let's see, but it will happen automatically, because after all, several very important states did join this organization. Let's continue now, and RT is reporting that Israel rejects hostage deal with Hamas, according to media. And main reason why Israel rejected it was that Hamas was demanding a long-term peace agreement, and Netanyahu's government is not willing to end the hostilities for longer than a day or two. They don't want even to hear about anything about peace in the region, which is quite unfortunate. And of course, you all know that yesterday, as a result of strikes in Beirut, strikes from Israeli forces in Beirut, capital of Lebanon, high-ranking Hamas official was killed. Head of military wing of Hamas, Al-Qassam brigades, and he was also founder of this military wing, if I'm not mistaken. Saleh al-Aruri, he was killed, and several other high-ranking Hamas officials also. And well, media now is reporting that Israel did warn its military and its civilians that Hezbollah may retaliate with a huge volley of missile attacks on Israel. I'm a little bit skeptical of it. There will be strong statements, and was strong statements from Lebanese government, from Hezbollah, and from Hamas itself. But I don't think Hezbollah will enter conflict with Israel with full force because of this strike on Hamas leadership in Beirut. And as I said from very beginning of this escalation, my understanding is that all the major parties in the region are trying their best to stay out of this conflict and not get fully involved in it, despite there are many attempts from Israeli government, from government of Netanyahu, to provoke larger conflict in the region. And that's why I believe Hezbollah will continue its current policy. They will retaliate on Israeli strikes on the borderline, but I don't think Hezbollah will get involved in this conflict with full-scale war with Israel. But let's see how will situation develop. RIA Novosti is reporting that according to U.S. militaries, several ships come under fire from Houthi rebels from Yemen in the Red Sea, in the southern part of Red Sea. There is no reports about damage to the ships, but well, let's see what additional news we will have later on today. Red Sea definitely is a hot spot on the map, and it will continue to stay this way. And at some point, probably all the shipping companies will just stop using Red Sea as a maritime route to reach to transfer goods between west and east, let's say, and they will choose go around Africa for safety. And this is interesting news also, that Iran deploys its navy to the Red Sea. That was reported by state media, and yet again, I believe Iran is not interested in escalating situation in the region. Iran is not interested to get involved in conflict with Israel, and therefore probably Iran will try to influence over the Houthi rebels to somehow de-escalate a situation, to make sure that there will be no, at least further intensification of hostilities in the Red Sea area. And I guess that's why Iranian warships have been delivered. This is clear message, I guess, to Houthi rebels that Iran is forced basically now to send its warships to, I don't know, protect civilian ships in the Red Sea. One may say that Iran sent these warships to protect Yemen or Houthis, but let's be real here. Iran, even if Iran will send entire its navy to the Red Sea, they are no match for U.S. Navy. So they cannot protect Yemen from U.S. Navy. It's just not happening. So most likely this is a message from Iran towards Houthi rebels that they are doing no good for their own allies by targeting these civilian ships in the Red Sea. And one should always remember that even though Iran has some ties with Hezbollah, with Houthi rebels, for example, Iran is not commanding these organizations. These organizations have their own leadership, and they are acting as they see fit, as they see in their own interests. They may listen to Iran, but they are not, they are not part of Iran's militaries or something like that. It's a Western propaganda that says that it's always Iran behind these actions of these organizations, when in reality it's not like that. Hezbollah is acting in its own interests and in interests of Lebanon, and Houthis are acting in the same way. They can listen to Iran because they have close ties with Iran and respect for Iran, but yet again they are not under command, not under direct command of Iran. Anyway, let's continue. Because of these strikes on continue in the Red Sea, I guess Iran, at least for now, are unable to influence situation, because they will definitely try, in my understanding, because not Hezbollah, not Iran, not any other major force in the region are not interested in regional war, not interested in further escalation with Israel. It's just too clear at this point, isn't it? Let's continue. RT is reporting that South Korean opposition leader was stabbed in the neck during a Q&A session that he had. Well, I don't know what's going on in South Korea, but well, quite crazy development. And this is, according to some reports, this politician Lee Jae-myung is a major opposition leader. So you would not ever see that there are some extremist forces in South Korea, but They are. They are. TASS news agency is reporting that, well, state debt of US first time did reach 34 trillion US dollars. In 2023, US debt rise more than 4 trillion. Just in 2023, US debt rise for 4 trillion. I don't know, man, how you're gonna comment this. US basically is existing on borrowing money. And if that's true, then also true that US is existing on borrowed time. Am I right? You tell me. US definitely needs some really proper government and proper adequate elites to deal with the issues that this state is facing. Otherwise, I mean, it will take 10, 15, 20 years, and US may end up in deep trouble. Because this nonsense cannot continue forever. That's for sure. And this news gonna be last for today's first update. Europe in 2023 did imported a record volume of LNG, which is quite understandable. We are talking about some 131 billion cubic meters of liquefied natural gas. And well, quite possibly in 2024 number will be even higher, and in 2025 even higher than that, which is once again not surprising, because after Biden's administration blew up Nord Stream pipelines and forced basically European states, EU member states, to refuse to buy Russian pipeline gas from pipes that still are operational through Ukraine, for example. Well, after that, it's become obvious that only way EU member states will be able to receive energy was LNG, liquefied natural gas, and main suppliers of LNG right now are, of course, Qatar. That's traditionally the case. US, by the way, and Russia. Some members of our community may be surprised, but Russia is one of the major suppliers of LNG to European states, major European states, by the way, major European economies like France and Spain, for example. So this is, they refuse to pay. They refuse to buy pipeline gas from Russia, which is cheaper than LNG, and they are buying now very same Russian gas, just in liquefied form. It is what it is. And well, I will end this update now. Hopefully you will find news that I reported important and interesting, and if so, please consider to click that like button and leave some commentary about any topic you find interesting, and please share video with your friends on any of the platforms that you are active on. Links to both my channels on YouTube or Rumble. And if you think this project with these several channels are interesting, useful, informative, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You can see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care. See you soon.